about tomorrow when you can enjoy today?
Take it one day at a time, kid.
Whatever's going to happen, will happen. As seniors in high school, hearing these cliche phrases makes life all the more frustrating. It feels a lot like the decisions we make in the next few months will determine our entire lives, like picking the right college, deciding the right major, finding the right group of friends. It's tough to remember there is somebody else to lean on these hard decisions, someone we can trust to help guide our path.
And it turns out he's been guiding our paths for a long time when we take a moment to look back. Way back in first grade, I moved elementary schools. I remember my best friend at the time and I listening in on my parents telling my friends' parents that I was moving schools and watching as she burst into tears, causing me to do the same. It seemed like my world was over, all at the young age of 7. But there was another plan in the works. The new school I went to ended up being where I would find lifelong friends. Miranda, who has been my best friend since 2nd grade, was found at Northwood, along with several others. Without moving schools, I wouldn't have met her, Alex Sust, or Rachel Schaefer, whose families have also become long-term members in our church and STAGE.
Apparently, 7 was a very intense year for both of our pasts, because my world changed forever 10 years ago too. My older sister Lauren was entering her final year in college, while I was at home waiting anxiously for her to return. I can't even begin to explain how completely and utterly excited I was for her to come back. I mean, she was my big sister. I looked up to her. She was the coolest person in the world. But our fate changed on the day of her graduation when she announced that she would be moving to North Carolina to live with her boyfriend. I was absolutely infuriated, pretty much. These next few years, they were supposed to be our time. We were supposed to get closer and everything, have so many memories, but instead she was choosing to leave me, or at least that's how I saw it. To be honest, it did take me a while to warm up to her boyfriend, now husband, but in the end, I'm truly glad I accepted her choice to move on with her life. Without it, I wouldn't have biannual trips down south, another amazing big brother-in-law, a perfect little baby nephew, and a priceless relationship with my sister that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Looking back as far as 10 plus years, we can see that God was with us even then. But those choices and moments lie far back in the past. And I know personally, I've needed God to help guide my path much more recently. In high school, we faced tough decisions finding the right group of friends, choosing to be responsible, and choosing to tell the truth even when it gets ugly. A while ago, I went through a rough streak of bad decisions, and then made worse decisions when I decided to lie to my friends and family about what I was doing. It wasn't until I felt empowered by our summer mission trip that I found the strength to come home and tell my family. That phase was far behind me, but I still felt like I was hiding a piece of my life with the people I most wanted to understand me. I know personally, choosing honesty was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But when I did choose to be honest in my relationships with my friends and family, those relationships became stronger than they've ever been. I know the strength to make these hard choices came from somewhere beyond just myself, as well as the belief that my life would be better once I chose to be truthful.
Being honest with others is always a challenge, but sometimes it's even more difficult to be honest with ourselves. Choosing the right college relies on knowing exactly who you are and what you want out of life. But realistically, at 17, I don't think I know who I am just quite yet. So how am I supposed to make one of the most important decisions of my life when I have no idea what I'm aiming to achieve? To start things off, I applied to about 10 schools, so that probably didn't make the decision-making process any easier. Secondly, factor in tuition, room and board, and books, and you have the trifecta of expenses. Next, there's the thought of making new friends, taking new classes, and my stomach just can't stop turning. It's by far the most anxiety-prone predicament I've ever experienced, though I'm pretty sure Daniel is in a slightly stickier situation with the Lions. Lastly, the stress amounts to its peak whenever I hear any of the phrases we opened with earlier. My personal favorite is, don't analyze this too much, just let it happen. I've taken so many AP classes in high school, I don't think I can stop overanalyzing things. And really, how can I not be a teensy bit concerned about the biggest transition of my life? So sometimes I like to sit back and think about this with a nice metaphor. For example, finding out college is like your car getting stuck in the snow. So how many of you have ever had your car get stuck in the snow? We live in Michigan here. Now, when your car does get stuck in the snow, I personally sit there and go forward, and I put it in reverse, and I'm like, well, I'll try forward again, and then reverse, and I do that for as long as I can until I realize the best solution is to just step out of my car, look at the situation, and maybe recognize that I might need some help from somebody else driving by. Picking the right college is kind of the same. I've been sitting at home saying, well, I could see myself here, maybe I'll fall flat on my face there, who knows? But I think what I really need to do is step back, be honest with myself, and recognize that I need to get out of the car and just ask God for help. And because I know He won't let me get stuck forever in the snow. And even though I still don't know where I'm heading off to next fall quite yet, I'm content God won't let me go wrong.
So, what do all these hard moments or choices in our lives amount to? What can we learn and remember from looking back at them? Well, even though we don't always find faith as quickly and as easily as Daniel did, and we are much less prepared to deal with what comes our way based on our decisions, we have realized that no matter what path we choose, if we can find trust in ourselves, others, and most importantly, God, our decisions will always take us where we need to go. Daniel trusted that God would save him in his choice because of his dedicated faith. In a similar and totally relatable way to our own lives, we can find reassurance in the knowledge that God is guiding our path. Those cliches, though hard to hear at times, remind us that what is meant to happen will, because we don't carry the weight of our decisions on our shoulders alone. Hakuna Matata.